On August 18th, longtime athletic director of the Virginia Tech Hokies, Whit Babcock, is going to be presenting some sobering numbers to the Board of Visitors at Virginia Tech. The story is not just about Virginia Tech. It's about a lot of athletic departments throughout our country at the highest level of competition in college sports. Sobering numbers. Numbers that show projections that the difference in conference payouts per school among the SEC teams could be $60, $59, $60 million more per year than the Big 12 and the ACC schools will be receiving from their conference in 2036. The numbers keep growing. This is the numbers that Virginia Tech Board of Visitors are going to get from Whit Babcock. Welcome to episode 449 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. Let's not waste any more time. This is based on the great reporting from the great Doug Bowman of Virginia Tech 247. Yesterday, he put out on his X account a train of information. August 18th, Whit Babcock will give a big presentation to Virginia Tech's Board of Visitors on the future of Virginia Tech's athletics and the support needed. The public docs reveal 54 slides which cover the ACC Revshare, TV, mixed use, real estate, LEDs, and more. It's a banger. Let's do it. Now, we're not going to go through this whole thing, but there's a lot of great information here. And you can understand why, you can understand why these athletic departments are doing everything they can to create more revenue. They're looking at private capital, private equity. They're looking at a potential super league, at least among the ACC and Big 12 schools. Schools are trying to jump up to the P2. They're basically offering a whole lot of goods to get that done. Wow. This is a great illustration of the future that at least Virginia Tech perceives is a-coming. Babcock's presentation will cover four things: economics, new ACC revenue distribution model, Virginia Tech's budget and resources, and what investments they are making to win. It asks three questions of the Board of Visitors. How important is athletics to Virginia Tech? Where does the Board of Visitors want Virginia Tech to be? How can we evolve and modernize? Again, you can go to @DougBowman247 on his X account and read all these on your own. You can get really into all the details. You can read everything. We're not going to do this here on this short episode 449, but I just want to present this to you. I want to give you the opportunity to read this on your own. A critical time in college sports for Virginia Tech. First up, the economics and changing elements of college sports, Revshare. Whit Babcock publicly reveals how Virginia Tech is covering the $20 million this year in Revshare. $10 million in student fees increases, plus $4.6 million in university support and some other increases. This is going on in a lot of places. Not all of it is publicized. Some of it is. Some of it is not. Well, here it is out in the open. $10 million increase in student fees, plus a $4.6 million in university support. Again, these athletic departments, they're seeing a $20.5 million Revshare budget drop in the middle of their department, and they got to pay for it. They got to get it done. They got to do the whole thing. Most of these autonomy for schools have to really do the $20.5 million. They cannot fall behind. Then he shares projections of what the Revshare cap will be for the next 10 years. $246 million total. But notes that there is a recalculated every 3 years. So we know that it's $20.5 million in Revshare for every athletic department. That is the cap. Then next year it's going to be 21.3. Then year after it's going to be 22.172. After that it gets recalculated. So what I believe to be the case in 2028 and 29, this $23 million Revshare cap number, that could be a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower, could be a lot bit higher, could be quite a bit lower. We're not going to really know. I got a feeling that it's going to be much higher than $23 million. But we shall see. It gets recalculated every 3 years. So next year it's going to be $21,320,000. That is going to be your Revshare cap. Now, let's get into conference distributions. This is a theme of the presentation. The ACC has a wider $30 million variance in payouts per school thanks to Revshare and the Clemson Florida State settlement. There's a couple of different parts that we need to go through here. Now, if you look at, I know it's very difficult to see, but the fiscal 2024 distribution per school, the Big Ten is projected, it's going to get, it has gotten $63.2 million per school. The SEC is 52.5, the ACC 44.8, the Big 12 almost 40 million per school, 39.8 average per school per conference. The 2025 estimated distribution per school, you see that the Big Ten takes quite a bit of a jump, $75 to $80 million per school. We talked about that earlier this spring. The Big Ten's, their escalator really jumps here the next couple of years. The Southeastern Conference goes really a lot higher because their new Tier 1 contract with ESPN, when it moved to CBS and ESPN, those numbers are finally coming on in. Those numbers are finally being part of the calculation. So the SEC takes a big jump to $65 to $70 million conference payout per school. The ACC has, a wide variance, right? $35 to $65 million per school. If you are at the high end of all their initiatives that the ACC is doing in their unequal revenue sharing plan, you can get close to the 60 million, 65 million. But there are going to be some programs that are going to be, some programs are going to make less than all the Big 12 programs out there. And we talked about that. The ACC, this unequal revenue sharing did not grow the pie. It's the pies are of different shapes and sizes, so to speak, within the conference. The Big 12 is going to be averaging $38 to $42 million per school for the 2025. Okay, now but look over here when it comes to per school college football playoff revenue distribution directly to the conference annually. Notre Dame, now this $5 million isn't quite accurate. Notre Dame right now can make way more than $5 million the farther they advance, but whatever. Starting in 2026, Notre Dame is going to be making $12 million a year in college football playoff distribution. The Big 12 is going to go from $5 million per school to $12 million. The ACC is going to go from $5 million per school to approximately $13 million. But then again, you got that unequal revenue sharing. There may be some schools that are going to be eating more and what they kill. The Big Ten is going to go from $5 million per school to 21. The SEC is going to go to $5 million to $21 million per school in college football playoff revenue distribution. So these numbers are going to go even higher the next year because you're going to have an increase of $15 million per school in the Big Ten, $15 million for the SEC, and an increase of $8 million for the ACC, and an increase of $7 million per school for the Big 12. So these numbers are going to go up for the 2026, 27, 28, just based on the college football playoff revenue distribution. Okay, so what does all that mean? Now, again, these are just projections. Just projections, but this is Virginia Tech's perception of what is going to happen. If you look at these numbers, according to Whit, Babcock, and Virginia Tech, the Big 12 will catch the ACC in 2030 with a new TV deal. Remember, the ACC ain't going to get a new TV deal until 2036 or maybe a couple years before that. We shall see. But if you look at the fiscal year 2036, the projections that Virginia Tech has for the Southeastern Conference, every school is going to be distributed $132 million conference payouts. And the Big Ten, each school is going to get $128 million. Again, these are projections. It's not going to be right on. It might be a little off, lower, higher. The Big 12 is going to make $73 million per school. The ACC is going to be making $73 million per school. But then again, the ACC has this wide variance. Some schools are going to make a lot more. Some schools are going to make less. But on average, if you notice the gap, we talk about this $30 million gap between the Big 12, the SEC versus ACC and Big 12 schools when it comes to conference payouts. That $30 million is going to be in the rear view mirror because it's going to be $55 to $60 million 11 years from now. What does that do to the landscape of college football and college sports if that turns out to be anywhere true? Doug Bowman, now conference realignment. Babcock lays out 4 scenarios on what could happen here with that reality. Bifurcation, which is the autonomy 4 and then the others. Trifurcation, which is the SEC, the Big 10, then you got the ACC and the Big 12, and then the others. Super League, 3 tiers over half of the college football programs, or the reorganization, top 1/2, and then Power 12, 72, bottom 1/2, group of 8, 64. 72 teams up above, 64 teams down below. That is the future, the options that Babcock sees that they're going to be telling the Board of Visitors at Virginia Tech. There is a lot more that is going to be presented to the Board of Visitors. And there is a lot more that Doug Bowman presents on his X account. So go check it out. Doug Bowman 247 on X. It also talks about Virginia Tech, their goal, they're wanting to become AAU. They believe, and it says in the slides that are going to be presented to the Board of Visitors, they are a contender for AAU status, which could help them out in conference realignment in the future. I will say this. I think there is a lot of traction in regards to Big 12 schools, some Big 12 schools, some ACC schools, getting together and talking about forming their own Super League, to bundle their content together, to do something under an umbrella, to do something to bring a third partner into the equation. Call it private equity, call it private capital, call it a media company buying equity in their conferences. Whatever wild scenario we want to talk about, let's just speculate on it, because something has got to happen. Something has got to happen. And that is why I think that's what the clandestine phone call that Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports, when he reported on May 26th, I think that's what that is all about. I think once we get through this next wave of realignment, the Big 12 schools and the ACC schools that are remaining in their conference, they're going to be looking to poach each other, or they're going to be looking to join forces together, but they cannot fall further and further and further behind, because then we're going to get into a trifurcation situation, and that is what they don't want, I don't want, most of us do not want. I do not want a Big Ten and SEC breakaway. But the money is becoming more and more of a problem for the Big 12 and ACC schools. And these projections, while you may look at them and say, oh, that can't be true, that's going to be way off, the media bubble is going to pop, the Big Ten ain't going to get all that money once again. Every time there's projections over the last 20 years, the number is actually higher, not lower. Even in the Big Ten projections, they keep making more revenue than what people are projecting. Next year, they're going to be making more money per team than what was projected 3 years ago when this media contract came about. The Big Ten network money keeps going larger because of the ad buys. That's why they got the Nielsen ratings going on with the Big Ten network. It affords them to increase their ad rates. Again, these projections are from Virginia Tech. They're presenting it to the Board of Visitors. And I think Virginia Tech is basically asking the state of Virginia, not just the Board of Visitors, what do you want us to be? Do you want us to continue to compete at the highest level of college sports, college football? Then we need more financial help. We need it. It talks about donor fatigue is settling in. That is part of the 54-part slides that's going to be presented to the Board of Visitors. It talks about fatigue among the donor base. Something's got to give. Virginia Tech already increased student fees $10 million to get this Revshare $20.5 million so they can commit the total sum to their student athletes. And this is not just a Virginia Tech story. This is all over the place. All over, almost everyone in the ACC, everyone in the Big 12, some Big 10 schools, some SEC at the bottom half of those conferences. This is very difficult financial situation that is going on. Put down your comments in the comment section below the video. Let me know what you are thinking. But my, oh my, $55 to $60 million revenue gap in conference payouts between the SEC and the Big 10 versus the Big 12 and the ACC a year. $55 to $60 million gap a year, per year in 2036. The number grows from $35 million now until all the way up to $60 million every single year. Yeah, the donors are not going to be able to keep up with that. That is why there is so much action. It is fluid. There's a lot of things going on. The top brand schools of the ACC and maybe one or two in the Big 12, they're doing all they can to try to get into the Big 10 and the SEC. A lot of cloak and dagger. Put down your comments in the comments section below the video. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.